I'm an artsy boy. You can tell because I wear backwards dad hats. Because of that, I have my creative outlets. In my professional life, I'm a UX designer. I work towards creating great interfaces and better experiences for people using my software. In my free time, I often have a camera in my hands. I point a bunch of glass in a tube at pretty things and hope for the best. Ever since doing so, I've started to notice that maybe photography might have helped me develop an eye for good design and provide more aesthetically appealing interfaces. But is my silly little camera actually improving my approach to user experience? Or am I just grasping at straws to connect my professional life and my hobbies? Am I just seeking attention? Actually, wait, don't answer that. Let's start with constraints. These come in many forms. In UX design, there are often inherent constraints of the software platform I'm designing for. There might be technical limitations in what I can build. My first attempt at a design may suit the needs of the user, but I'll probably have to go back to the drawing board if the platform or framework I'm designing on isn't capable enough. This can push me outside of my comfort zone, but that can be great in terms of growing as a designer. Constraints make me think a little more creatively and make me push the boundaries of what's possible. After all, only when you can do the best with less can you do more with more. And in the world of photography, that usually comes down to the gear someone has. Better cameras and better glass can make for better results, but that doesn't automatically make someone's images good. Same with designing software. Raising the ceiling of what's possible doesn't automatically make what currently exists any better, which is why it's sometimes a great exercise to create self-imposed constraints. My favorite? I only recently started shooting film again, the last time being when I looked like this. We've come a long way. Shooting film has been a great exercise for me to start rethinking photography. Shooting digital has so many advantages that I take for granted. Image review, virtually unlimited shot count, editing flexibility. There's just so much less to screw up and so much more I can pull off. And shooting film rips those comforts away from me.
It seems rather inconvenient for you. I'm not following your logic here, Jared.
I get no preview of the final image, only 36 shots at a time, and I can only pray that there might be something good when I get my scans back later. But all these constraints have helped me become more meticulous with my digital photography. Much like with design constraints, these constraints force me to think outside the box. But there's another constraint at play here. Black and white. Now, color plays an important part in how we feel and interpret things. In software, colors can convey many things. It can grab user attention for new notifications, or it can help with the visual identification of certain categories. But taking color entirely out of the equation leaves one key component left: contrast. Contrast plays a huge role in software accessibility. Accounting for color blindness is imperative, so relying on color identification alone, it's not always a feasible option. This is part of why I love shooting in black and white. I can't just find a colorful scene and hope to capture the essence of it. I'm forced to think a little harder about how my desaturated end result's gonna look. I look for textures, high contrast subjects, and any scenes that don't have a reliance on color to be interesting. But color and contrast are just one part of what helps make both interfaces and images good. Possibly the most important aspect of both software design and photography is composition. How are things framed? What draws my eye? Do all the elements work together? Is it too busy? All of these are questions I can ask myself when pointing my camera at a subject or when assessing a user interface. In photography, there's something called the rule of thirds. This is a rule of thumb that divides the frame into 9 equal parts with pairs of horizontal and vertical lines. The idea is that things of interest will lie on those lines or intersections and provide a more interesting look. Now, much like other rules, this one is meant to be broken. It's all preference at the end of the day, but the rule of thirds is a good starting point to get an idea for visual appeal. The same sort of principles can be applied towards the weighting of interface elements. Whether it's mobile or web, it's bad practice to just be plopping elements willy-nilly on the frame. Users' eyes will naturally gravitate towards certain parts of the page depending on how big they are, how they fit with the rest of the content, and how much padding they have. These are all things to consider in both design and photography, as composition really is the first impression people get. And good composition takes time, which means I can't and shouldn't rush for a quick snapshot. Each of my 36 shots costs me about a quarter, or more, so I take my time. I have to rely on my light meter to know I'm exposing properly, so I take my time. I have no way to review my images after each shot, so I take my time. And it's not just for photos. Taking my time is part of good UX research as well. I need to invest time into researching my competitors. I need to learn my users well and create a persona or two that'll depict them well. I have to spend a good amount of time fleshing out my designs so developers know how to interpret my garbage. But spending too much time can also be a detriment. In photography, getting a shot is often better than getting nothing at all. Sometimes it ends up being my best work. Letting perfect become the enemy of good also applies to software. Getting something out there for people to digest and provide feedback on is immensely valuable. It promotes growth and learning, even if it fails. Being afraid to fail is a genuine concern, but missing the mark early on is all part of the process. Get a product out there, watch it flop, get feedback, iterate and improve, repeat. I've now boiled down my entire profession to you. You can stop asking what I do for a living. I understand things will have parallels when you've spent enough time to find them. I mean, confirmation bias is obviously a thing. I found an article once that said so. It's also important to note that I don't deem myself an expert UX designer nor a professional photographer. There's only so much going on underneath this hat. However, I still think there's something to be said about the connection between the photographic eye and UX design. Experience from one field can often be applied or observed in the real world, which is great for growing as a creative professional and expanding knowledge. Special thanks to Gelatin Labs for processing my film for this video. They didn't pay me or anything, they just honored my order notes. If you're interested in getting into shooting film, don't, it's a trap.